It's Christine with the Camera Effect Promotions, and I'm here with.
Joe from Transit.
How's Warped Tour treating you?
It's been awesome. This is our second time on a Warped Tour, and we love this festival. We love this tour. It's just a good time, a lot of positive vibes.
Did you have friends on the tour coming in?
Yes, with Seaway, Knuckle Puck, Wonder Years, just a bunch. What else? We played a show at Lee Corey Oswald years ago. Just a lot of like faces we see on a lot of festivals and tours, and then a lot of faces we haven't seen
So a
in
bunch
years.
of familiar faces?
Yeah, it's been cool.
That's the best part of Warped Tour.
Yeah, it's great.
What would you say is a band that you found out about on this tour that you have listened to since it started?
Well, let me think. Probably Never Shout Never. I never really listened to them.
Yeah.
I just kind of assumed they were like what they sounded like and never really checked them out. And they're absolutely amazing. I think they're a great
They're
band.
so good live.
Yeah,
too,
they're so good, and I'm
Such
glad
a
I
good
walked.
band.
I'm glad I walked by them and got to realize that I was wrong and that they're a great band.
Yeah, it's the best part of Warped Tour. You can just be walking. It's like, oh, that band's on. Let me check it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your inspiration? Who or what?
It's everything. It's life. I think that what inspires you to write and create any type of art is like a funnel, and that all the stuff that happens to you and you take in your daily life throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, it all kind of goes down the funnel into what becomes the song at the bottom. I really don't think any exact bands or books or TV shows or movies have really drastically, made our band sound the way it is. I think it's just a culmination of everything.
All right. What do you do while you're not playing music or writing music?
I skateboard, I ride my bike, I try to work extra jobs, help my friends out at home. I have a really big family. I spend a lot of time with my family. I have a really big Italian family. What else? I'm a word nerd. I go to the bookstore and I'll leave with like 5 to 10 books every time I go, and I'll just digest them one after the other. I'll just read and read and read. A lot of random authors. I try to keep it random and no exact, no real favorites. I try to look for the underdogs.
Yeah, it's always good to keep reading. Not many people say that, oh yeah, I'm reading.
Yeah.
They should, because it expands your imagination. And
Expands everything. It's just that, and I used to meditate here and there, and both of those things just make life a better experience overall. It's like plus exercise, like those three things are like the three like most important things you can do to just better this whole experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what direction do you think your genre of music is going in today's music industry?
I'm not really sure. Like, we get lumped into like the pop punk genre. We've never really been a pop punk band. We're a punk band that plays indie. We love pop. We love indie pop. We're just a big mix of sound.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of the bands that we get lumped into are getting heavier. We are not, which is fine. But for our exact sound, it's just going to go with wherever we're feeling. We've had heavy records, we've had fast records, we've had slow records, we've had like noodly sounding, like Midwestern emo style like records and stuff like that. We're just always trying to change it up. It's just Transit is a group of people that are writing the songs. It's not like a specific set sound that we're just like, that people can expect.
That's good though, it's a variety.
It's an art. We'd really treat it like our own art, and it's every day, every album is our own time capsule, you know what I mean? It's what we're into at that time and what we're vibing and what we're feeling, so we just put it out there and that's really it.
Makes sense to me. For someone who's new to your music, what song would you tell them to listen to first?
I don't know. I guess out of all our songs, like the ones that I like the most, like overall, I would want to check out an older one. So I guess they'd have more fun at the shows because the older ones tend to be more of a community when they're sung, and I think that's the coolest way to go into it. As so I'd probably say "Long Lost Friends," but if it was off the new record, I'd probably say the first track, "The Only One." We try to put our favorite tracks first, so we give them exactly what we're feeling right away.
Sounds good. Makes sense.
Yeah.
When Warp's finished, what are your plans?
We have another tour coming up a month or two after Warped Tour. Well, it's gonna be in the fall. It's gonna be a good amount of bands. I can't announce with who, but it's gonna be a full U.S. tour, and it's gonna be incredible. It's some of the best sounding bands we've ever played with.
Ooh,
in
I'm
a long
excited.
time. So very excited about that.
The start of your music career to present day, what would you say is one of your biggest accomplishments?
When I was 14, I heard Saves the Day song called "At Your Funeral," and it's a sad song, but the name makes it a lot sadder than it is. It's not like that down and depressing. But anyway, I heard this song when I was 14. My friend put it on a mix CD, and I got into this entire world of music with that one song. And I didn't stop listening to the radio like so much. I still listen to the radio here
Yeah.
and there, but I started getting into the underground music, and we got to tour with them, and Bayside, and I Am the Avalanche, and that's still my favorite tour of all time. And I think just being able to tour with a band that introduced you to this
Yeah.
entire scene, this entire community of music is pretty remarkable. So
Really, all it takes is just one band,
yeah,
one
one
song.
song. That's it. And I hope that we have a song like that for some band that isn't together yet. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely.
That's why you do it, because you try to pass the torch.
Yeah. Pass the torch, inspire.
Yeah.
Where did the band name come from?
The band name came before I was in the band. I went to a show with Prime Stereo and Polar Bear Club at a small church basement show in Stoneham, Massachusetts. And Transit happened to be playing. They didn't have a singer, and they were looking for one. And they asked the crowd if anyone wanted to try out and sing for them, and I said I would. And then that's how I ended up in the band. But the name came before I was in it. It was written on a Burger King napkin. It was written on a Burger King faceplate, and it was either going to be called Transit or This Time Around, which were two different bands. So there was This Time Around and Transit, and two of the members of Transit and two of the members of This Time Around became a band. As far as I remember, because this is before, this is what I was told, so I sometimes I get this wrong. But it's basically two bands with a similar sound. Two members left of each band, and they came together, and they were either going to call themselves This Time Around or Transit. And they went with Transit. I thought it was a cooler name, so
Stuck.
yeah.
Well, who's your favorite artist that you've seen live?
Ever?
You can do a top three.
Neutral Milk Hotel by a landslide. The bassist plays a saw with a violin bow,
Oh my gosh.
and he plays the key off the saw. So when you're playing the song, certain keys of the song, he's like messing with that. With the it's basically like what causes a lot of vibe in a band set is I think is the space between the strings. It's after you hit it, and that's all he plays when he's not playing bass. Is he's playing
That
that,
sounds incredible.
and it's like how do you even think to do that, and how do you do that well and have it
Yeah.
not sound like shit? Like incredible. Brand New is a great band. I've seen them live a bunch of times. The guitar tones literally sound like what you'd assume Nirvana's sounded like. It's incredible. And then Algernon Cadwallader is one of the best bands I ever saw live. They were a three-piece when I saw them. I'm pretty sure they were four-piece before that. We played with them in Delaware in a church basement, again, another church basement. And I saw them play, and I felt like I was 14 years old all over again.
It's the best feeling.
That's the best feeling,
Yeah.
and not a lot of bands can do
Like
that to me.
happiness.
I've been doing music and going to shows for probably, over 15, 16 years, and that band made me feel like a little kid again. So now they're in a band called Hop Along, and there's a few other projects because that band broke up and they became other projects, but all really good. There's like two or three bands. I've only really listened to one. That's Hop Along, and that was my favorite underground band so far in America. Like it was Algernon Cadwallader.
Awesome. And lastly, what would you say to anyone who's having a rough day right now or a bad day to make them happier?
I mean, just being alive is an incredible experience, and people will say, "Oh, my life sucks," and this and that, but what can you compare it to? You can't remember any of the days before you were born. It was just nothingness. So you really got to appreciate the good days and the bad days for even being there in general.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
like that. The new movie Inside Out makes you appreciate like
I haven't seen it yet.
joy and sadness.
Yeah,
like,
you need
it tells
both.
you need all emotions.
You need them all to be human.
You can't accept the happier times if you don't have a sad time.
Yeah, and there's trillions upon trillions of different species in the world.
Yeah.
And if you're not religious and you're more spiritual or just scientific, whatever you are, like the chances of you not being a human being, some other animal or insect, it's pretty high.
Yeah,
It's pretty
definitely.
high. So to be a human being, a conscious thing that can look up at the stars and know how they work, thermonuclear fusion and stuff like that, to even know how they work and to look up at them and know what they are to an extent is absolutely mind-blowing. And it should always be appreciated. You know what I mean?
It should. All right, well, it was great chatting with
Yeah,
you.
you too. Thank you guys for having me. You're listening to the Camera Effect Promotions, and I'm Joe from Transit. Thank you for
you.
listening.